It's January 9th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today. Treasury Titans, and here is Michael Saylor doing what he does best, his Braveheart impression. Life is good, but nothing in this video is financial advice. Please do your own research, and please be bullish on MSTR and Bitcoin this year because, man, the tailwinds, they are a-coming. Michael Saylor's in a lightning storm stomping down because he's so fired up. So let's kick into the next clip, which is Michael Saylor doing what? Michael Saylor is hanging out in DC, and he says, the Bulldog Center. That's Bulldog with a capital Bitcoin B. Thank you, Jim Justice, for standing up for market neutrality and supporting the digital asset industry in discussions with MSCI. So we have a man to thank for stepping up and saying, hey, you should be neutral, MSCI. You should not be making decisions like this. And all the other things that Strategy brought up as great points as to why MSCI should not and cannot, in a world that we currently live in with neutral indexes like them, be making unilateral decisions like that. So we'll move on to Erme, who says MSTR to BTC up 3.3%. Yesterday was up 4.2%. I told him, I like this daily post. Let's keep up the trends. Again, we're going to celebrate the wins and we're going to acknowledge, but ride through the losses together because that's what this is all about, riding this volatility roller coaster. Strategy Maxi says MSTR is 8.8% year to date, while IBIT is 1.5% year to date. That's a 5x outperformance. So tell me MSTR is working, right? Well, we'll see what happens going forward. Of course, a little bit of this pump was due to the MSCI decision. So hopefully we see this trend continue, but only time will tell. But Chris still wants to recognize this, that, are we having fun yet? And again, Bitcoin was down 0.46%. IBET was down 0.02%. And MSTR was up over 3%. Again, we acknowledge the losses and we acknowledge the down and negative days because they're reality, but we ride through them together. That means we can also celebrate the wins. We can celebrate the wins together. And the last few days have been wins for MSTR. Speaking of wins for MSTR, Stretch closed solid above $100 and had $80 million in volume, which means they had another 200 Bitcoin bought by Strategy in the $90,000 range today. Another successful day. In the bag, literally in the bag. And then Bitcoin Princess says, it really is this simple. This is the MSTR equity flywheel, the compound NAV growth, leveraging Stretch to bridge the gap between 11% cost of capital and 30% Bitcoin growth. So here you have people that are creating BIP bonds, like JP Morgan's talking about it, Morgan Stanley, tokens like Buck is coming out with a token paying 7%. Savings accounts can start paying 5% interest instead of like 0 or 1% interest. Why? Because they can get 11% annual dividend from Stretch. They can get an 11% annual yield instrument in Stretch. So that is a very powerful way for them to leverage Stretch into BIP bonds, into tokens, into savings. So what are they doing? All these products right here, these companies are going to make Buck, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, pouring money into Stretch. What is Michael Saylor doing with this money? He's acquiring Bitcoin with a 30% target CAGR. And then what's happening here? Well, the MSTR net asset value has an accretive growth spread of 19%. And then what's happening off to the side here? Well, we have a 2-year dividend reserve at MSTR at the market offerings. A $20 reserve for every $100 Stretch ensures dividend being solvent, and this is the dividend funding, and this is the flywheel. So what's the math of success? Well, Bitcoin growth at 30%, and that just has to be over time. It's been much, much higher the past 5 to 10 years, like closer to 60%. And that's the Stretch cost, which equals a 19% annual. So that's minus Stretch cost equals a 19% annual NAV accretion. So the math of success, the Bitcoin growth at 30% minus the Stretch cost equals 19% annual NAV accretion. We know some years, it'll be much better than that, much higher than that, as Bitcoin does much better than 30%. And some years it'll be lower because Bitcoin will have pullbacks and drawbacks, et cetera, et cetera. But the averaging out is what this math of success is. So again, in a nutshell, these BIP bonds, tokens, and savings are buying Stretch, by the billions, literally. And that is an equity value boost, obviously. Michael Saylor is buying Bitcoin at an incredible rate, which is hopefully increasing the value of Bitcoin as well. I mean, it will be over time. And the MSTR net asset value, the NAV, the accretive growth is a 19% spread. Absolute insanity. This flywheel just gets better. Zink says the entire thesis for MSTR is that they are betting on the CAGR of Bitcoin being higher than their cost of capital, which is 11%. They're executing a carry trade on Bitcoin. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you should be bullish on strategy. It's really that simple. So it's a carry trade on Bitcoin. If you're not bullish on Bitcoin, this is not for you, period, end of story. If you don't think Bitcoin is going to have a CAGR of higher than 11% over the next 5, 10, 20 years, then this is not for you, end of story. Bitcoin Archive, excuse me, says Bitwise says a 5% capital rotation from gold into Bitcoin could send Bitcoin to $242,000. And again, that's just a 5% rotation. Look what will happen right here. 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, off to the races. Chris says, at this point, Saylor and Strategy have done everything within their power to fortify the business model to the highest degree possible. The only variable they haven't defended themselves against is Bitcoin's future performance, because they can't. And that's ultimately what will determine the company's success over the coming years. The success of Strategy will be determined by the success of Bitcoin. As a shareholder, the only thing you have to do now is let the chips fall where they may. I'm betting on Bitcoin. I am betting on Michael Saylor. I am betting on Strategy. That's my bet. I've made my bed and I'm sleeping in it every single night. British Huddle says, never met a doom and gloom boomer that was richer than me, ever. Negativity breeds negativity. Don't believe the words. They're sad people. And I always like to say, hurt people hurt people. Those people are hurting. Like every little bear FUD Tina in my timeline, they're hurting. Like they're just spewing toxicity because they're toxic. You must have empathy for those people. Their life is miserable. Chris says, outside of Strategy, Metaplanet is the only other company that benefited disproportionately from early Bitcoin adoption. Moving decisively enabled the company to capitalize on the Bitcoin /TC frenzy long enough to build a large enough Bitcoin stack to issue prefs. Without Simon's vision and speed of execution, Metaplanet would be stuck like 99% of the other Bitcoin treasury companies right now. Success loves speed. And that's why Metaplanet is by far my second biggest position. And Zink says, Metaplanet continues to show strength in Tokyo. Reversal has begun. The current MNAV is up to 1.26. I was buying this at 0.89. Now it's up at 1.26. We're now just 20% away from the restart of the ATM, which will resume at 637. This would be at a 1.52 MNAV. Honestly, I'm looking forward to some accretive dilution. Bullish. Booyah, another 7%. Looking good. So, hey, here's the deal. Metaplanet is going to be able to restart their ATM at just a 20% up move from here. That's going to be like 3 or 4 good days with maybe one small pullback mixed in there. So I can almost taste it. Strategy Maxi says, everybody wants to meet with Saylor. Do you realize why Saylor has been aggressive with Bitcoin acquisitions, even at low MNAV? You can see that Saylor's tweets have been changing lately, full of traveling to meet with powerful people and figuring out how to put a stake in Bitcoin. And we're going to come back and listen to Michael Saylor talk the talk right here when we get back from thanking our sponsors. Michael Saylor just made an $835 million bet buying the Bitcoin dip. Right now, Bitcoin's fallen almost 40% off its October high, and the big money is buying the dip. What's your strategy? Now might be a great time to convert your IRA or 401k to Bitcoin with the help of Bit IRA. Plus, you can fund it with pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. Bit IRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the U.S. government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Bitcoin has proven time and time again to rebound, every cycle going from a higher low to a higher high. With Strategy's latest purchase, Michael Saylor clearly believes Bitcoin is at a discount. Time for you to get into. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin. When you want more for your business, start with Northwest Registered Agent and get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business all in one place. Build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Your business identity is more than your logo or website. It's everything that defines who you are and how you operate, from what your customers see to what they don't, like operating agreements, meeting minutes, and compliance paperwork. With Northwest, you'll get more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, and more free resources than you'll find anywhere else. For nearly 30 years, Northwest Registered Agent has helped entrepreneurs form, grow, and protect their businesses. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in America, powered by over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know the local laws and can help you every step of the way. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
So I've been meeting with, I've been obviously meeting with all the sovereign wealth funds. I've been meeting with, I don't know, 50, 100 different investors, hedge funds, family office investors that are interested. I've been meeting with banks and people that own banks or run banks. I've been meeting with fund managers that offer financial products. I've been meeting with regulators in every jurisdiction. And I think, and my message, by the way, is very, very straightforward. My message is we now have digital capital. Bitcoin is digital capital, is digital gold. On top of digital capital, we have a new asset class called digital credit. Digital credit strips the volatility from the capital and provides yield, income. So the simple idea is, if you have a 5-year-old kid, you can give them $1 million worth of land in Manhattan, that's capital, and tell them wait 30 years and then maybe they'll be rich, but there are no cash flows. Or you can give them a credit instrument that pays them $10,000 a month forever, starting now.
What's the second best? There is no second best.